In the various meetings in the last few weeks, most recently 2 days ago in London, the answer from European capitals has been as resounding as it is clear. We are in an era of rearmament. And Europe is ready to massively boost its defence spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security. And this is why today I have written a letter to the leaders ahead of Thursday's European Council. This is why we are here together today. I have outlined in this letter to the leaders the Rearm Europe plan. This set of proposals focuses on how to use all the financial levers at our disposal in order to help member states to quickly and significantly increase expenditures in defence capabilities, urgently now, but also over a longer period of time over this decade.
If I am to be changed, and I'll hear, how can I put it, with what's happening with the support, to change me, it will not be easy, because it is not enough to simply hold elections. You would need to prevent me from participating in the elections. And it will be a bit more difficult, so they'll have to negotiate with me. And I said that I'm exchanging it for NATO membership. And then it means that I fulfilled my mission. There is NATO. It means I've fulfilled my mission.
The Prime Minister says he's open to Australia sending peacekeepers to Ukraine in a bid to ensure a ceasefire. But in the lead up to the election, the coalition has signalled that it wouldn't back that move.
Donald Trump has just frozen military aid to Ukraine indefinitely. Why is that?
Look, I think this is part of a greater negotiating tactic, Andrew. The bottom line is President Zelensky should do two things. Number one, sign that minerals deal. Number two, apologize to President Trump and thank the American people. If those two things happen, Ukraine will be secure. If U.S. interests commercially are aligned with Ukraine, our companies, our workers, that's probably the greatest protection and security that he could possibly get.
After the Oval Office smackdown heard around the world, 47 sending the Ukrainian leader to his room for having a bad attitude on a potential peace deal with Russia. And instead of apologizing, Zelensky was running over to his European friends, where he said, quote, "An agreement to end the war is still very, very far away, and no one has started all these steps yet." President Trump not happy with that one.
He should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe, and Europe should have given more than us. I want one thing to happen. I want all of those young people to stop being killed. They're being killed by the thousands every single week. The money is one thing, but the death, and they're losing thousands of soldiers a week. He said he thinks the war's going to go on for a long time, and he better not be right about that. That's all I'm saying. Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal, and if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long.
President Trump also teasing that he'll have more to say on a minerals deal with Ukraine during his joint address to Congress, which you can catch special coverage starting tomorrow at 9 Eastern right here on Fox News Channel. Meanwhile, the Democrats and the media are screaming, "Russia, Russia, Russia."
The White House has become an arm of the Kremlin.
The Kremlin is delighted.
The only winner in that exchange is Putin.
He's very much in Putin's camp.
As far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States.
And Secretary Rubio is pointing out how President Trump would be getting a Nobel Peace Prize over his efforts to end the war if only there was a D next to his name.
Shouldn't we all be happy that we have a president who's trying to stop wars and prevent them instead of start them? And I just don't get it. I really don't, other than the fact that it's Donald J. Trump. If this was a Democrat that was doing this, everyone would be saying, well, he's on his way to the Nobel Peace Prize. This is absurd.
No, I will say this. The other thing that's funny, Zelensky left the United States, went over to Europe, where immediately the UK's Prime Minister Starmer said that they will put boots on the ground, planes in the air. The French president said that they're willing to up their percentage of GDP of defense spending to 3.5%. It's the effect of Donald Trump is having a ripple effect across the pond as well. But the bottom line is that you want to talk about promises that he made. Donald Trump campaigned on bringing peace back to an unstable world. For 4 years, there wasn't an invasion or incursion across the world, not just in Ukraine and in Russia, but throughout the world. And under Joe Biden, the world fell apart. So Donald Trump wants to bring peace. He didn't ask to come back in and deal with the situation in Gaza or the situation in Ukraine. In fact, when he left office, he had utter peace throughout the world. The world was calmer and safer under his leadership. But look, I think you got to look at the context of that meeting. Number one, General Keith Kellogg, the president's envoy to Ukraine, had met with Zelensky the week before and said, don't come to the U.S. to just have a show, sign the deal, and then we'll make things happen. Zelensky went against that advice, came over, met with a bunch of Democratic senators, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, several others, including the rumors are at least Susan Rice from the Biden administration and potentially Victoria Nuland. I don't know if they set that guy up or not, but the idea of going into a Oval Office meeting and looking smug and arrogant as if he was giving us something definitely did not look like the thing that, I was there, Andrew. I posted some stuff on social media. The White House was ready for a quick press spray, a meeting, a lunch with the signing, and then a press conference afterwards to announce the deal. This White House was ready to go. And when Zelensky was pulling out of the West Wing driveway, I was talking to folks in the driveway at the time, and I said, if he pulls out of this driveway, it's over. And I think that what President Trump is showing is that you made a big mistake. You came over here and tried to embarrass us. He thinks somehow he's on equal footing with President Trump. And respectfully, this isn't about who's bigger or smaller or what have you. But the bottom line is that they wouldn't be in the position that they are without the United States. President Trump wants peace, full stop. And he is the only one that can negotiate a lasting peace. So the idea that Zelensky came over here to lecture us and to lecture our administration after everything that the United States has put out for them was just a stupid diplomatic move.
We don't want to go over there and get in between a family fight. We did. It's 3 years later.
I'm still waiting to hear what Jessica's plan is to remove Russia from eastern Ukraine.
What?
We haven't heard that yet from you. So until you tell us what your peace deal is, I think this is probably the better deal.
Really?
Jessica, how are you going to get the Russians out of eastern Ukraine?
You make a deal
if the
with
Ukrainians
them.
you make a deal with them.
But the deal is not giving up all of Ukrainian territory and calling him a dictator when he's clearly not.
Okay, so how do you get them to stop fighting and get Russia to leave the country?
I don't know.
I don't know is your answer. I don't know.
Sorry, I left my 4 stars at home when I came into work. I'm just saying the guy is talking like a Kremlin plant.
If you can't do it militarily, you got to go do it at the negotiating table.
You know what? The truth is that Donald Trump's job is to get a deal. And that means you don't take one side or the other.
He's taking one side.
And their interpretation of his not taking, of his
Brett
not
says we have to go.
criticizing Putin is that he's pro-Putin. He's a deal maker.
Okay.